Hey, my name's Devon Carney. I'm the Associate Artistic Director at Cincinnati Ballet.
Okay. First question. You are preserving but also updating the choreography of the original performance of The Sleeping Beauty. Why is it necessary to preserve? Why is it necessary to update?
Well, preservation's a good thing only because we're talking about a ballet that was first premiered at the Mariinsky Theater in 1890, roughly 120 years ago. And in order to get a sense of the grandeur and of the pure classicalness of this production, there needs to be some respect for the past and what the original choreographer Marius Petipa did for the production. But we have dancers who dance very differently nowadays than they did back then. So there's a lot more technical prowess, if you wish to say. So that gives a little bit more opportunity to let the dancers stretch their lines, extend everything outward and jump higher. There's more opportunity for turning nowadays. Dancers, for instance, 1890, no one had ever done a double tour on stage. That's when a male goes up in the air and jumps up, spins around twice and comes down. That's a double tour. No one in 1890 had ever done one of those on stage. The first person to do it on stage actually was Václav Nijinsky, and it wasn't in 1890, it was more like in 1902 or something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Have you faced any unexpected challenges, any happy accidents?
Unexpected challenges would be, this is a mammoth production. It is very large in its scope of the details. It's basically a 4-act ballet, even though we call it a prologue and 3 acts. It's pretty much 4 separate scenes. One of those acts has 2 scenes within it. There are lots of opportunities for transitions, and there's that whole saying of the devil's in the details, and oh my goodness, the number of little moments I've gone, oh right, we've got to connect that scene to this scene. Okay, we got to put it together, and it's that transitional stuff. The first thing, the thing that was the easiest to get set was the actual dancing, and the thing that's been taking a little bit more of the time as we close in on the latter part of the process, of the rehearsal process, is the transitions, getting from one scene to the next. The unexpected happy moments, I forgot what you called it, but
happy accident.
Happy accidents. Well, choreographing a new scene for Carabosse. I have Carabosse on point. It's female, she's on point. Usually it's done with a big heavy dress and character shoes, and I really wanted to highlight the talents of our dancers. Yet again, a reason for some of it being somewhat updated. And there have been some moments choreographically where I've done stuff with Carabosse that reflects other dancers, other characters within the production. Like there's a moment where Carabosse gets lifted up high overhead, and she kind of imitates the final processional of Aurora being carried off to be laid to rest. And I like little moments like that where I go, hey, wait a minute, that's the same thing as what Aurora does later. This is great, so it's a foretelling of the future. Another great happy accident was that I chose to do the 3rd act in red. There's a big red set that hasn't been used in our previous productions of it, which I heard was available and around, sitting in the warehouse. I said, let's use it. Well, as it turns out, since we're going to the music hall, beautiful, wonderful stars aligning, planets coming into perfect alignment, was that the set for 3rd act is now red, and the majority of it, the theme is red. And wouldn't you know, what is the theme of the music hall? Red. Red chairs, red carpeting, red curtain. It's all reds and golds. And what a great, wonderful sort of happy accident, because what we've got now is an entire theater that is the backdrop for our final act, which when the curtain goes up for that, it's going to be like every member of the audience is part of that particular act, because it's going to feel like you're looking into the end of a grand ballroom, that being where the dancers are, but the audience is a part of that same ballroom because it's all in the same reds.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The rehearsal schedule is intense. What is a typical rehearsal day like for you?
Well, it has been an extensive process since we began 3 weeks ago, and a little bit prior to that. Actually, we were rehearsing during New Works. Our second week of New Works, we started rehearsing not as intensively as once we were done, but we were doing 2 to 4, we did 4 or 5 hour days for a couple days and a couple of 2 hour days. So we had some days during New Works where we were working on Sleeping Beauty. I've been getting up pretty much around 4:30 in the morning and studying videos of I could count on probably 8 or 9 different productions, and doing a lot of notation, getting my own ideas and incorporating past ideas, you know, respecting Petipa's choreography, trying to find the common ground of, well, okay, so what was he originally trying to do here, you know, in this particular scene? And then thinking about it and going, well, how do I want to change that and make that somewhat updated? And that I would do that roughly from about 5 until 10, and then come here to the studios, rehearse with the dancers, get here by around 11, rehearse with the dancers until 6:15 at night, and then go in and check, because I'm associate artistic director. Yes, I have to get emails and respond to those emails. So there's a lot of other things that I have to do in the day, and take care of that till about 9 at night, 9:30 at night, something like that. And the last week has been the most intensive, because I'm starting to incorporate the supernumeraries into the production, and I don't want to lose dancer time to rehearse them, so I've been rehearsing them in the evenings from 7:30 till 9. Last night I worked till 10:15 with the King and the Queen. So the days have been extensive, but I think it's all going to pay off in the long run. You know, I think the production will be fun, and it'll all gel together when we finally get to the theater.
You have said that every ballet company has to do the Sleeping Beauty, that it's an essential part of the repertoire. Can you reflect on why?
Well, if we're going to be called a ballet company, then we need to be able to do those kind of productions that are a part of the classical repertoire. And this company is doing all of those, such as Swan Lake, Giselle, and Sleeping Beauty. And these are things that challenge a dancer. This is what a dancer is trained to do, a ballet dancer, a classical ballet dancer. They take ballet class every day before they do rehearsals. And that technique that they develop is particularly geared toward doing classical ballets. And Sleeping Beauty is one of the grand productions of the classical repertoire, and one of the greatest known scores that Tchaikovsky ever wrote. He wrote 3, and this one by far is the most well known. It's just a part of a dancer's life. And it's great for their careers to have this experience. It's great for the audiences to have this experience, to be able to, you know, we do interesting contemporary repertoire, and you need the balance between the two. You can't do all contemporary. You certainly can't do all classical, and you have to strike that balance between the two. And by us doing, for instance, what we call New Works, which is this production we do every year, which we have world premieres done by cutting-edge choreographers. It's all very experimental work. You know, to be able to go from that and switch right over to doing Sleeping Beauty, that's a great test for a dancer of their versatility. And I think it's great that they have that chance, and it's important that they have that roundness to their technique to be able to do both extremes.
Yay. So that's all the questions. Do you want to say, like, the Sleeping Beauty performs at Music Hall?
Sure.
October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
I guess the one thing that's important to know is that we're going to be performing this. No, we're not just doing a bunch of rehearsals. And, you know, we're going to be performing this at the Music Hall, which, by the way, was built in 1877, completed in 1878, which was 12 years before Sleeping Beauty actually was first performed in 1890. Again, another wonderful sort of moment of happy accidents that we have a whole theater that is actually built at the same general time period that the production was first performed. And those performances, by the way, are October 22nd through 24th at 8 o'clock on the 22nd, 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock on the 23rd, and 2 o'clock on the 24th.